I had these moments when I was struggling through IVF where I was on the bathroom floor, 3 a.m. every night. I had chronic insomnia, unable to sleep. And I just remember thinking to myself, if someone could just tell me when this journey would be over, then I would be able to deal with anything in the meantime. I think it's the not knowing when that makes this process so difficult. On today's episode, I want to give you 3 powerful tools that you can use in order to keep going and stay resilient until that day comes.
Welcome to your journey to fertility. This is the podcast that blends both science with spirit to give you all the tools you need as you navigate your fertility journey. I'm your host, Jennifer Edmonds, and for the last 15 years, I've been helping women on their journeys to motherhood and beyond. I believe that combining the latest scientific research along with the best energetic and mindset practices will help you to avoid putting your life on hold and bring you closer to your baby. Here each week, you'll learn ways to support your fertility and trust your body so you can stop stressing that you'll never have a baby and finally walk your path to motherhood. This is the Your Journey to Fertility podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And this episode is wrapping up the 3-part series that we had throughout the month of July called Coming Back into Alignment. So on the first 2 episodes, we spoke about staying in that energy of knowing that you're on the right path and tapping into your intuition and knowing that you are going down the path that you should be on. And this last episode that we're doing today is really going to wrap it up and give you some really practical, sensible tools that you can use on your own journey. Now, as this episode is being released, this is the last day for you to register for Embrace the Journey, my 3-part free Fertility Live series. So if you would like to learn about some of the tools that I speak about so often on the podcast, all of these beautiful regulating tools in terms of fertility yoga, meditation, and breath work, now is the time to jump into this series. We are running for the next 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the 29th, 30th, and 31st of July. And I would love for you to come and meet me. If you can't join live, then every time you register, you will get access to all of the replays. And just a reminder, this is a standalone course. This is something that you will then be able to take and use within your own life. And it's something that you'll have to keep. As I'm sure you know, as you heard me speak about already, at the end of this free 3-day live series, you will then have the opportunity to join the In Your Element Fertility Yoga program. So this is something that I only open for a few days throughout the year, and the next time won't be until 2026. And I know I speak so much about how much I love this program. And yes, of course, I'm totally biased, but it really is the ultimate mind-body fertility program. It is the combination of everything science and everything spiritual all rolled into one. It is a $39 a month program that you can jump into and out of at any time that you like. And there are no locking contracts. There are no cancellation fees. So I invite you to come and try the program for yourself and see how it works within your own journey. So the doors to that are going to open at 9 a.m. next Monday, the 4th of August. If you have any questions about the program, how it can help you, please reach out to me, email me, or DM me before then. So this episode today, my approach is simple, and everything that I speak about, I mean, yes, my ultimate goal is to help you get pregnant, absolutely, but I want to speak about how you can make your life better in the meantime, because your whole life is on pause when you're going through something like infertility. And I think that when you can really lean into a lot of these amazing tools and practices that we have available to us, it isn't just going to make your fertility journey easier, but it's going to make your whole life feel easier in the process. My reason for doing this work is to give you the tools. I'm going to hold your hand, but ultimately, my aim is to give you your power back. You are the one that creates your own difference. And I want you to be reminded of how capable you are when you're trying to conceive. So we are going to jump into those tools straight away. I want to break it down into 3 parts. So the first part that I know this is probably the hardest place. And we always start with this idea of awareness. But when you don't think that you can go on, when you are struggling with the thought that, how long is a piece of string? How long am I going to be in this place where my life is on hold for? The first thing that we need to do is to feel it fully. As we know, pushing emotions away doesn't really make them go away. It just makes them come back again and again tenfold. And I know that no one wants to do this. We don't want to sit in all of the awful emotions that come up on this journey, especially when we get bad news or we are triggered by pregnancy announcements or treatments aren't successful or we just are generally feeling hopeless. Pushing all of these thoughts away never works. And I think the reason we get so frustrated with everything that we're going through is this is one of the only things in our life where effort doesn't equal reward. And especially as women, we are brought up thinking if we work hard, we're going to achieve something. But when it comes to fertility, it just doesn't work that way. There's this, this spiritual part of it that can't tell you when. We don't have a crystal ball and we can do everything perfectly. We can have the perfect treatment cycle. But sometimes it just doesn't work. And we tend to look outside ourselves for the answers a lot of the time. We hand over our bodies to doctors, to procedures, to blood tests, and we think all of these experts are going to give us the answers. Feeling like everything is so hard and so overwhelming is inevitable on this journey. So I need you to be able to recognize that and to feel it fully. And when I say feel it fully, we need to feel it somatically within our bodies as well. I have this amazing meditation that I love to use with my students, and it's actually a meditation that you receive free as part of signing up for Embrace the Journey, my free series this week. And it's a somatic meditation about using the idea of difficult emotions and where they show up in your body and feeling the physical sensations of them to help them move through your body. There is something really powerful in being able to connect an emotion with how you feel physically. So that is something that I invite you to do. When you feel all of what you're going through and you accept it, it moves through you. And I think that it helps you to keep going because it reminds your brain that you survived. It says to your nervous system, I've considered the worst case scenario and I'm actually okay. I'm not happy about it, but I survived. And that is incredibly important. There's a journaling practice that I love to give a lot of my students that you can do very simply where you write out all of think about all the worst case scenarios, the deepest, darkest thoughts that you have. I'm never going to be a parent. I'm going to have to remortgage my house to pay for more fertility treatments. I'm going to be left behind. My friends aren't going to want to include me anymore because I have nothing in common with them. Writing down all of your deepest, darkest thoughts and then considering all of the reasons why it actually would be okay if they happened. Not I would be happy if they happened, but I would survive. That is an incredibly powerful process for your brain. And we are so resistant to doing this work. I was so resistant to doing this. And my students look at me like, what you want me to write down all of my worst case scenario thoughts and tell myself that they're okay? But you are not then telling the universe that this is what you want to bring into your life. What you're doing, like I said, is saying to your brain, I've considered that the worst case has actually happened and I'm okay. And when you get past that place of will I or will I not survive, because ultimately that is all your nervous system is worried about, it starts to lessen the impact that all of these thoughts have on your body. So feeling those emotions, really feeling them, how they present in your body, allowing them to be there without pushing them away, and then reminding yourself that actually once you consider that that could be the case, whilst you don't like it, you would actually be okay. That is where I want you to start. The second part of this is to build up your emotional or resilience toolkit. And this is something that I spoke about a lot in part 1 of this series. So if you want to skip back a few episodes and remind yourself a lot of that through a lot of what those tools were, please do. And I want you to think of this as your nervous system support toolkit. So your regulating tools, setting boundaries for yourself, for others, and using nervous system regulation to be able to ride the roller coaster that is infertility, because bad news is going to keep coming. Things aren't going to go the way that we want them to go. And there's nothing that we can do about that a lot of the time, but it is about learning to ride the waves. And I'm going to come back to this idea of roller coaster and riding the waves in a minute, but we need to be able to find a baseline to bring ourselves back to when you can't think about or you can't focus on anything else, and it is affecting every moment of every day of your life. You know that something needs to change. And if you are in that chronic state of survival, of fight or flight, 24/7, and you never get that back to baseline regulation, you don't even know what it feels like anymore. We start to lose touch with our bodies and how we feel. Am I hungry? Am I tired? I don't know. I'm just so dysregulated. It's overwhelming, and there is so much going on. So finding what works for you is going to be incredibly important. And I get asked, like, what are the best regulating tools that I can possibly give you? And I talk about them a lot. And obviously I'm a yoga teacher and a meditation teacher, so that's a lot of what I speak about. But I think you've got to find what works for you. And yoga is not for everyone. Meditation's not for everyone. But you're going to find the things that bring you back to a baseline. All of this is about responding with compassion, not control. And again, this is something we go over so often. Regulating your nervous system is not about stopping things from triggering you or stopping things from stressing you. It is about riding that wave. And when they do happen, yes, it is going to be a shock to your system. It's going to be overwhelming. But you need to know in the back of your mind that you're going to be okay, and you've got this toolkit of things to come back to. While we're on this topic, I want to speak a little bit about something I see on social media a lot lately, where people talk about, especially in the fertility space, your body doesn't feel safe to get pregnant. You need to regulate your nervous system because your body doesn't feel safe to ovulate or to support a pregnancy. And I get frustrated with this because there is a bit of truth in that. And the ability to be able to come into regulation means that your nervous system switches into more of that rest and digest state, that ventral state where we need for normal bodily processes to function and to resume. So I agree with that to a point. But when we are talking about this work, I want you to get something really, really clear. I don't want you to regulate your nervous system so you can get pregnant. I want you to learn how to regulate your nervous system so that you can make your whole life better, so that you can move beyond these years of trying to conceive, because it's not just about let's get pregnant, because what if you do get pregnant and you lose the baby and all of those feelings of shame come up and, I did everything perfectly. I did what I was told and I got pregnant, but that wasn't enough. Or what if you get pregnant, you have the baby, but everything that you went through, all of the trauma from this journey that brought you to that point hasn't been resolved, and you're still left in a place of dysregulation and you don't know how to overcome that. So that is what I want you to be able to do, because regulating your nervous system, it shapes your entire experience. It makes every part of your day, your life, your relationships easier, well beyond trying to conceive. And I think that there is a lot of power in that when we zoom out and we think, okay, yes, I'm sure one day I'm going to have the baby, I'm going to have the family, and then what? You want to be able to have these tools to carry with you throughout. Go back if you can to part 2 that I did in this series, which was really about connecting with your body and trusting your intuition. And we're wanting to move from that energy of I'm going to do this so that my body does what I tell it to do. We want to move away from that energy of like tit for tat, like your body doesn't understand, like it's not a bargaining tool. We need to get into that energy of I'm going to learn to look after myself, because that is ultimately what's going to be the best thing for me and my life. And like I said, it deepens your relationships. It improves your overall health, your ability to sleep, to navigate difficult relationships or difficult things that arise at work. And, when hard things happen in life, they're always going to keep happening. You're going to be able to know how to ride those waves and prioritize yourself and your self-care. I really want you to look at this as like your baby is the cherry on top of this already incredible life that you have built for yourself. When everything is already in place, it's just like the icing on the cake. It's enough like cake analogies there. So, what does your toolkit look like? And like I said, that is up to you. And it's going to be a little bit of trial and error. It's going to be about finding what works for you. And you're not going to get it perfect every day, but you need to know what you can come back to help you when things get tough. My series this week, my 3-day live series, this is a showcase of tools that you'll be able to come back to and start to incorporate. And in those moments where you do feel really overwhelmed, you've got something that you can remind yourself of. So I'm going to move on to part 3. And this is the more fun part. This is what I love to start speaking about. It. It's where it becomes a little bit less away from the sciencey stuff and the nervous system stuff and into the more kind of spiritual and woo-woo parts, which is, I know what you come here for as well. So I want you to be able to visit the version of you that is on the other side of this journey. But often we talk about, fast forwarding 5-10 years into the future and looking at the version of yourself that already has the entire life that you want. And there is a lot of value in that. But I want you to think about this in 2 parts. We can visit the person that is on the journey in more of an advanced way than we are today. So I want you to visit yourself from, say, a few weeks or even just a few months from now into this person who is already able to shift into that mindset of, I know that I am meant to be a parent. I know that my baby is on the way. So maybe today you are really struggling to get into that energy. And no, we don't have the crystal ball. We don't know when, we don't know how, but we can know what. And if we can sit in that unshaking belief that we know that this is meant for us, then that is the energy that we can tap into. And I think it's also a little bit of an easier version of you in the future to tap into as well. Because, thinking about the person who has the grandkids and has already lived the life like that, that's a long time away. So if you can just fast forward a few months into your future and think, what is that little bridge that I can get to? Can I visit that version of myself who knows that she has everything and tap into that energy? I find that's a lot easier. There was this awesome study done in 2011 by the Harvard Mind Body Institute by an amazing doctor called Alice Domer, who took a whole bunch of women who were going through IVF and she split them into 2 groups. The first group just went through IVF as they would normally, and the second group, she gave them a whole lot of mind-body tools, a lot of the things that we speak about on this podcast, and she got them to go through daily practices, mindfulness, meditation, so many different things to support them emotionally and physically while they were going through IVF. And the results were mind-blowing. Still, when I look at this study, I'm like, how is this not something that every fertility clinic is doing? So the women who used these mind-body techniques had pregnancy results 3 times greater than those who didn't. And that was the only thing they did differently. Some of them, it was their first round of IVF, some of them second, third, or more. But the mix and the results were like miles and miles apart. So if you are on this journey, and it doesn't matter if you are not up to going through treatments. I don't know if going through treatments is any more stressful than trying month and month and after month and nothing is happening. It's all hard. There's no comparison here. But if you can find these tools to use for yourself and to tap into that energy of knowing, the science shows us that it makes such an incredible difference. So I'm going to guide you through a really short visualization now. So you can do this. Look, if you're driving, absolutely, but maybe don't close your eyes. But if you are in a place that is safe to do so, I want you to get yourself comfortable, close your eyes, and just take a few moments to arrive in your body and come into your breath. Like your breath is the very best way for you to tap into how you're feeling within your body. I want you to imagine yourself 6 months from now. And not necessarily because everything has worked, but everything is now feeling grounded. You're not spiraling with every new cycle. You've been able to listen to your body and you've learned how to do that and what that looks like for you. And most importantly, you have made space to find some joy again in your life. So take a moment just following your breath and just picture what that woman looks like. What has she let go of? Who has she become? What does her day look like that is different to what your day looks like right now? I want you to take a moment now to really breathe this in, because you are already her. This is so important to help you keep going, because you need that reassurance from yourself that you have got this, that unwavering belief. I did a similar exercise with my students this week where I took them through a visualization at the end of our practices that we did together. And it was something someone said to me when I was struggling through infertility. And they said, if you're going to spend like 99% of your time worrying about the worst case scenario, you owe it to yourself for just 1% of your day to ask, what if I actually get everything that I ever wanted? What if the absolute best case scenario happens? Just do it for 1% of your day. So maybe 2 minutes before you go to bed, I want you to tap into that energy and go back to it. It is the consistency and the regularity of so many of these tools that really shapes our nervous system. So I'm going to give you a couple of journaling prompts because I find that has been really working really well with this 3-part series. I've gotten so much lovely feedback from the journaling prompts, and that's a really nice way to carry on from if you want to do some of these really kind of gentle meditations where you're visiting your future self. This is a nice way to complement those. So your first journaling prompt, I want you to write this down. What would it feel like to be resilient without having to be strong all of the time? And like all of these, I don't want you to think about it too much. Journaling is not about analyzing or being perfect or getting things right. It's just about let's get it all out, get it out of your head and onto the page. Because sometimes when we don't stop to analyze and think about things too much, such amazing stuff comes up for us. So just start writing. Now, the second prompt I want you to write down is, what kind of support do I truly want on this journey? And am I ready to receive it? Because maybe you are doing all of the things that your doctor has told you. You are listening to the podcast, you're reading the books, you are, following the doctors on social media. But is all of that helping you, or is it overwhelming you? So what support do you really, really want? And are you actually ready to receive that? And I find that reducing all of your information sources down to, say, 2 or 3 really trusted sources is a much, much better way for your brain to be able to get a handle on that. So let's recap what we have spoken about so far. So first of all, our part 1 was to feel fully what you were going through. Or remember, it is going to keep chasing you and keep coming back stronger. The second part was to build up your toolkit and know why you are doing things and when you need these tools. And the third was to visit that future version of yourself who has what you already want. So if this series spoke to you, I would love to invite you to come and join me next Monday when I open the doors to the In Your Element Fertility Yoga program. As I was speaking about before, it is such a beautiful and warm, caring space away from social media that just really invites in everything that we talk about on this podcast. Is the most ultimate, beautiful blend of the scientific approach with the spiritual approach. It is a space for women who are ready to stop walking this path alone, because we know in community we are able to achieve so much more than we are by ourselves. We combine fertility yoga, emotional healing, nervous system support, coaching, community. It is all in one beautiful, nurturing container. We open twice a year, and the next time won't be until 2026. So doors open 9 a.m. Monday, the 4th of August for just 6 days or until places are full. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. In closing, there's a couple of thoughts that I wanted to leave you with that I thought really tied into what we've spoken about on this episode. And that is, I I didn't get pregnant and my life didn't change because of one thing. It changed because of a million tiny moments that I was able to make a choice on. When I chose to believe I could do this, when I chose to put myself first, to listen to my body, to trust my body. And that is what these practices gave me, and that is what I want for you as well. I want to show you all the tools that you need so that you can find your own strength to keep going, because this journey is going to keep knocking you down, whether we like it or not. And I'm not even really asking you to trust me on this journey. I'm asking you to trust yourself, because I can't give you the amounts of capability that you can give yourself once you know how to trust your own journey, because that is where change really starts to happen. So I hope to see you at my live training series this week. But until then, next week, we are going to be speaking about all things fertility, nutrition, egg quality. We have so much coming up. Until then, I am sending you all of my wishes as you continue your own journey to fertility. The most common thing I hear from students who are on their fertility journey is that the stress of trying to conceive has taken over their life. Your days end up being filled with endless appointments, navigating pregnancy announcements. You're trying to eat right, take all your supplements, and it is all you think about from the moment you wake up. I designed the Element Fertility Yoga course to support your body, your mind, and your mental health in 3 important ways: to synchronize your hormones, increase circulation and blood flow, and to help regulate your nervous system. But on top of this, the greatest gift that you can give yourself throughout this journey is a sense of peace, to help you calm your mind and just make this process feel easier. Every single one of my students tell me that this is the first thing they notice after starting a yoga, meditation, and breathwork practice. But on top of this, you have the amazing benefit of actually supporting and increasing your fertility. Studies have shown that those participating in mind-body programs as they're trying to conceive have success rates 3 times greater than those who don't. The course I've designed walks you through natural conception as well as fertility treatments and IVF cycles. And the best part is you can work through it at your own pace in the comfort of your home. The practices start from just 10 minutes per day. To learn more, visit elementpilatesyoga.com or see the link in the show notes.